Hey guys, Matthew Murillo here, and I am a real estate broker and attorney, and I want to discuss a little bit about this whole rent strike that either has happened or is happening or will happen. I'm hearing a lot about a rent strike because of the different eviction moratoriums that are there, the deferments, the forbearance options that some mortgage companies are offering, and people just overall not being happy with their landlords not being able to or not accepting a skipped payment, essentially. But what you have to consider if you are renting, what you have to consider, even though there is a moratorium on evictions, that does not remove the legal responsibility from you to actually pay for that rent, unless you have an agreement with your landlord that you will either forbear the rent, which means you'll pay it after a certain amount of time, or it will be deferred, again, which means it will be put off until a certain amount of time. Typically, the difference between a forbearance and a deferral in this context is essentially that a deferment will be put off to the end of your agreement, and a forbearance will be put off for, if it's a 3-month forbearance, and at the end of those 3 months, you pay the whole amount that has been due. But again, if you are considering a rent strike, make sure that you pay what you can, or you get some sort of agreement in place with your landlord. Because if you, for example, if you don't pay for April and May, and the moratorium on evictions is lifted as of June 1st, guess what? You're going to be evicted. Your landlord is probably going to initiate the eviction process, and they're going to also try to hold you accountable for April and May rent payments. Having lost your job is an unfortunate circumstance of this COVID situation. However, it will not be a legal excuse for you to not continue to pay rent unless you have an agreement in place with your landlord. So please consider various alternatives before you make the decision to simply not pay rent. Most of the time, from my perspective, most landlords are probably going to be willing to work with you at least a little bit to see what they can do, what you can do to kind of meet in the middle in that situation. If you absolutely must put yourself in a position where you can't pay that rent, please consult an attorney, someone that can advise you a little bit more about what your rights and obligations are going to be that during that time period, to make sure that you fully understand what you're getting yourself into by continuing down that path. Okay. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to discuss any of these situations with you and see if there's something that maybe you can do, or maybe we can even assist in getting something negotiated with your landlord.